We can now start and officially open the 2020 Online International Summer School on Comparative Conflict Studies. Welcome, everyone. We're really glad to have you with us. Of course, people might still join us for the session. We hope they do. We have almost 60 participants this year, summer school online. And I would just like to say that we would like to keep this session for around 30 minutes, hopefully. And just to start immediately, I would like to give the word to the CFCCS Director, Dr. Orly Friedman. Orly?
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Alex. And we're excited and very glad to be with you all. My name is Orly Friedman. I'm the director of the Center for Comparative Conflict Studies based at the Faculty of Media and Communications here in Belgrade. If you were all here with us today in Belgrade, you would find yourself in a very rainy and grayish day to mark the summer here. But nevertheless, we are very glad to be with you all online. As Alex said, we will keep it short, about 30 minutes. I would like to introduce ourselves to you a little bit and the summer school. Some of you have been with us before, and it's very nice to see familiar faces back with us, and some of us are utterly new to us as well. And we would also like to introduce our faculty to you, and then each of our professors will say a few words to introduce their courses. And so our center exists from 2009 as an educational and research center. Over the years, we've had various research focus and research project engagement in smaller or larger scale research, hosting here a number of research conferences and workshops, but the main educational program that we found ourselves engaged with is our summer school. So in addition to study seminars and other educational projects that we have here, the summer school have become like our main engagement, and this is the 11th year that we are offering the summer school. And in that sense, we are very excited and happy to have with us 59 students today from 25 countries. I just counted again to make sure before we started our session. So this is truly an international summer school. Probably the most unique feature of our summer school is that we managed to bring together people from so many places around the world. Particularly when we started, it was very important for us to bring together students from here, from the Balkans, for people who usually we no longer sit together in the classroom to share a classroom, to share academic interests, courses, inquiries, discussions. And over the years, we've managed also to have students from other conflict areas join us. And in that sense, the main idea of the center since its inception and the summer school is to think comparatively. How can we think about conflicts comparatively? Many of you work on very specific case studies. We want to, in our work, place case studies in comparative perspective through different theoretical frameworks and inquiries, hence the richness of our courses. And so if anyone had asked me a year ago, will you ever consider offering online education, online courses? I would definitely say no, absolutely no. And end of June, few months into the world crisis, we find ourselves here together. And so I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Aleksandra Perisic, who is going to introduce the Faculty of Media and Communications. We're all part of the Department of Critical Political Studies. Aleksandra, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many faces on my screen. So first of all, in the name of the Faculty of Media and Communications, I wanted to wish you a very warm welcome to this year's summer school in comparative conflict studies. And I just wanted to say very briefly a few words about the faculty, just so you have an idea of who is organizing this virtual space. So the faculty was founded in Belgrade in 2007, and we have around 1,600 students. So we're really an equivalent of a small liberal arts college. We have 7 different undergraduate programs. Our biggest program is actually psychology, but we also have social work, journalism, public relations, digital marketing, digital arts, and like Orly said, the host of the summer school is our youngest department, which is the department in critical political studies. And so when we started this program in political studies a few years ago, we really wanted it to be a little bit different from a traditional political science program. So we really think about politics in a very interdisciplinary way. So our students do take, of course, political science courses, but we also give them the opportunity to study politics in relation to art, film, literature, urbanism, social movements, and so on and so forth. And we have, so the department also hosts 2 summer schools, which are very important to us. We have a summer school in gender and sexuality, and of course the summer school that you are attending in comparative conflict studies. So normally I would tell you, welcome to the faculty and welcome to Belgrade. But this year being a little bit different, I'm gonna just say, welcome to this collective virtual space that you all will be attending over the next week. And I wish you all a very good week of learning and getting to know each other.
Great. Thank you so much, Alexandra. And indeed, as part of the work in our department, I'm also very happy to see some of our students with us online, from our advanced undergraduate students and also from our master's program in international relations and in critical political studies, and also in political psychology. The structure of our summer school since its inception was let us expand our offering during the summer, have more of our colleagues from outside of Belgrade or even outside of the Balkans come join us. Some of them we work together on other projects, some of them we just collaborate through our joint interest in critical peace and conflict studies or comparative studies, and have each of them sort of take the week to shine with their expertise, their knowledge, their also the themes that they're most passionate about, and the themes that they also work on regularly, publish, do research, and teach throughout the year. And in that sense, it's a special opportunity for us each year to welcome some people who join us year after year, and some people who join us for the very first time, sometimes very first time even in the Balkans or in Belgrade, Serbia. So I'd like to introduce our professors this year, and I'd like to start by really thanking you for agreeing to join us in this adventure. I think as our call for application was actually reaching its end period of the first cycle, we realized that most likely we won't be able to see people here live in Belgrade with us. And we were very hesitant, shall we go online, shall we not? We said we can try, worst comes to worst, we will cancel the whole thing. But first was to actually reach out again to our lecturers this year and ask you to join us, but virtually. And to my great joy, you all gladly and very positively reacted immediately. It didn't take too much convincing to have you join us, and we're very, very thankful for you for that. I know for some of you it is an adventure this week, pedagogically, methodologically, technologically, but I'm sure we will learn plenty from that as well. So I'd like to start by introducing you to Dr. Maxine David. And Maxine, this morning I realized that if we were together here in Belgrade this year, we would celebrate with you your 10th anniversary of joining us here in the Summer School in Comparative Conflict Studies. We would probably have some flowers and then some wine at night over somewhere nice outside. But here we are in this kind of virtual world. But I'd like to very warmly welcome you, and just if you can introduce yourself and your course in a few words.
Hello, thank you very much to everybody. It's very strange not to be meeting you in person. I keep imagining what it would be like. You'd all be silent in the room, looking worried, and we'd all be thinking about what you'd be like on the Saturday when we couldn't get you to shut up. But that's not the case this time. I just really want to thank Orly and Alex for arranging this. I don't even want to think about how much work this has been. But also all of you for coming. I'm not actually going to say too much about my course because you know, you can read that for yourself. And I think though that it's more important to say something about the world that we're living in right now. I think that there are very important lessons to be drawn from this virus situation. And for anyone who has had their lives disrupted even a little bit, for anyone who's lived in fear of losing someone they love to this virus or their livelihood to this virus, I think it's important to remember that for those who have lived in conflict or will live in conflict, that this is the daily lived experience for thousands, millions actually, of people across the globe. So what we are experiencing now is minimal compared to what those in war experience. But when I think about the drivers of conflict generally, inequality is always there, unemployment is always there, poor governance is nearly always there, and then how we see the politicization of cleavage. All of these drivers, all of these conditions are in place now in many countries or will be soon. We've also seen an almost total failure of the United Nations, the face of the international community. So my course is about international intervention, but about the international community and the myth of that community. Well, I think you can see now when we look at the almost total absence of the UN to show leadership through this crisis, you can see why I talk about the myth of that community. Instead, we've seen national and nationalistic responses, and these have given the lie to the notion, let alone the reality, of an international community. As Orly said, this would have been my 10th year in Belgrade. There are unfortunately always reasons to study, in my case, international interventions and the response or otherwise of the international community. And I think that we're going to have even more reason to do so in the future. I don't want to leave you on that negative note because the positives are right here and they're you, right? I've already met those students on my course. We just had an hour session before this, and I've got BA students, I've got MA students, I've got PhD students, I've got professionals from 2 different continents. So what hope we have is in the humanity that we have right here, unfortunately, on Zoom, rather than in the room in Belgrade together. So again, I just want to thank you for being here. And I hope that you are similarly inspired in this online environment, as I know all of us have been every single year in the offline environment that is usually Belgrade. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maxine. I'd like to invite Professor Marie Breen-Smith to join us and introduce herself and her thoughts and her course. Marie was with us actually in the very first year that we ran the summer school back in 2010.
I was only 18 at that time.
In any case, it was great to have you back in Belgrade with us last year, and thank you so much for agreeing to join us this year as well, Marie.
Thank you. Thank you, Orly, and it's a great pleasure to be back. And I'm listening to Maxine talking about the impact of the virus and so on, and I think one of the most difficult impacts has been the isolation that many of us have suffered as a result of not being able to leave our homes. And indeed, in my case, that's kind of still the case because I live in a family unit where people have health issues. And I also live in a very remote part of the world. If you look at the map of Ireland, I'm in the top left-hand corner of the island, and the next stop is America. So we have the Atlantic Ocean and the winds coming in off it, and that's where I'm located. Yet in the middle of all this isolation, we have this connection with each other. And in my case, we're going to be talking about some very difficult issues. We're going to be, the focus of the course is on violence and its effects and its aftermath. And of course, we're meeting at a time when the whole globally Black Lives Matter movement has taken fire and spread. And I think it's a very opportune time for us to begin to engage with what is going on in the world. Why at this stage? I mean, we've seen police killings of Black people in the United States for many decades now. But why at this moment is this movement taking off, and how do we orient ourselves towards that, and what's our own particular role in relation to it as white people, as Black people, as women, as gay people, whoever we are? How do we actually figure out what our role and recognition of that situation is? So we'll be talking about that, but about many other things. I grew up in a war-torn society, as some of my participants in the course also did, and we'll bring that experience to bear on our discussions in the classroom, the virtual classroom. I've been accused in the past of deriving my sense of humor from the necessity of lightening the terrible burden of teaching about violence. So let me assure you that it's a very serious course, but we will do a lot of laughing in order to remain sane while we look at these terrible issues. And I must insist on that. If you don't have a sense of humor, perhaps you'd like to go on Amazon or eBay and see if you can acquire one before our first session, which is at 4 p.m. UK time. And if you do have a sense of humor, dust it off because you're going to need it. Okay.
I miss your sense of humor, Marie. Thank you so much. I'd like to welcome Dr. Tzvi Beckerman, and thank you for being with us, and allow you to introduce yourself and your course and share with us a little bit more. We can't hear you. You have to unmute. Just unmute, yes.
Hi. After hearing the two previous ones, and especially at the beginning, Maxine, I'm speechless. I mean, these people are serious, different from me. So I don't want to add regarding these big issues, though I agree fully with the descriptions that Maxine offered and her worry about the fact that the poor, as usual, suffer and will suffer in the future because humans seem not to find a solution to that fact other than trying to be rich so as not to suffer, which is not a good recipe anyway, but anyway, doesn't matter. Okay. Regarding, I have nothing to say. Well, I come from a tradition where predictions about the future were given to the idiots. So I won't say a word about what the future holds for us, okay? I do come from another tradition that is committed to the pessimism of the intellect and the optimism of the will. Will meaning action. So I'll stick to my pessimism of the intellect in the sense that I believe very little will happen in terms of change, but I will never give up on the opportunity of doing something towards it. Okay, and I suggest all those that want to pay attention to me to try to manage the same type of balance. Third, before last thing is, let us remember that humans throughout the ages have been a adaptable technology, and they have always succeeded to adapt. So in that sense, I'm not tremendously worried. I might not like the adaptations that will come in the future, but I'm convinced that we will adapt. The last thing is I would never take seriously any summer school that to teach a course on peace education brings in an Israeli like me. And I wish you all to enjoy as much as possible, in spite of Zoom, our meetings together. And I'm already looking forward to our closing session. Not because it closes, but because it brings us all together back again.
Okay, thank you so much, Tzvi. So I did not mention Tzvi is talking to us today from Jerusalem.
Holy Jerusalem.
Holy Jerusalem. Marie is talking to us from Northern Ireland. I don't know in Ireland, right?
The Republic of Ireland, Donegal.
Ireland, right. It's right on the border, and yet to be seen what occurs in the aftermath of Brexit. And I believe Maxine just arrived in Leiden a few days ago from the UK. And so I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Olivera Simic, who is based probably the farthest away from us in Australia, so evening time, your time. I think you will be teaching most of the week in your evening, night times. Welcome, Olivera. It's good to have you back with us.
Thank you, Orly. Thank you, Orly and Alex, for organizing, and thanks for all these wonderful introductions. And yes, I will be teaching during the night. I live in the future, as I said to my students, so I'm right in front of you in terms of time. So yes, I'm in Australia, on island, and we can't leave the island. No one can enter the island. This is talking about this crisis, but I guess probably it's one of the safest country at the moment in terms of the virus. And I hope that where you are at the moment that you feel safe and well. I am associated with the law school. I teach in international law, and I'm teaching the course in transitional justice, in justice after mass atrocities this year. I taught a few years ago. This is my second time in summer school. First time in Zoomtopia, and first time teaching on Zoom in the summer school. But nevertheless, I'm really excited and happy to be here, and I'm really excited to see so many of you. I think it's a great effort. As Marie said, we are isolated, but then we come in Zoom session, and it's nice to see so many people. And it's also nice, and I think very important what Marie said, I would echo that, to keep that sense of humor, dealing with it quite difficult and sensitive topics. I think one thing you learn is that really keeping the sense of humor and laughing helps you to go through some of the traumatic materials that we are all going through with you during this week. So yes, I'm this course, or my course, is looking at, it's interdisciplinary course. It's a field of study that looks at how societies, individuals, and communities deal with past atrocities, with mass human rights violations and war crimes, and what happens after genocide and mass atrocities, and how do survivors pick up their lives in the aftermath of mass killings. So we look at different transitional justice mechanisms and strategies that are available to societies that deal with these atrocities. We already had 2 sessions because it is late night in Australia. So I've done my work, and my students were great. Well done for today's session. I'm already looking forward to tomorrow's class, and looking forward, as we said, to the closing session, because we'll come all together again to say hello to each other. So thank you. Have a great week and a great summer school.
Okay, thank you so much, Olivera. And last but not least, Dr. Igor Stix. I can't see you with all the many pages here, but probably the closest to me in the same city with us in our department of critical political studies. And we're so happy to have you with us, Igor, and the course as well. Welcome.
Thank you, Orly, for organizing this at our faculty at the Department for Critical Political Studies, and also Professor Perisic already told you about what we are trying to do here, what we are actually building here, what kind of program we want to achieve, and what kind of team we have. So we are very much excited about this, to do things slightly differently, and to have all these various formats of bringing people to our faculty. And one of them is the summer school, and I'll be teaching about about citizenship in the 21st century, and what does it mean today, what does it mean to be citizen where you are, what does it mean to want to make changes, Tzvi mentioned, and how to make it, what makes you a passive, active activist. What does it mean when you don't have a citizenship, or where your rights being endangered? How to understand this complicated and complex and controversial concept today, and how it actually relates to our lives. So in this respect, I'm quite happy that I have a very diverse group that is bringing to our discussion really various and different experiences of citizenship, of what does it, of belonging, of identity, and therefore we already started, and it looks any further with this. For my students, the message is we'll meet 5 minutes after the end of this session. For all the others, wish you all the best. Thank you for being with us, and I'm sure it will be a very productive week.
Great, thank you, Igor, so much. So these are our 5 courses for this year. I'm certain that we are ready, offering a really cutting-edge syllabi, digital platform to allow you all to engage with us as much as possible. As was explained already, our week will be structured from each course offering 2 synchronous sessions and 1 asynchronous session to allow you as much engagement with each other and with the materials of the course. So we are already almost a half an hour into our session that we promised to run short. Before we end, I also want to introduce you to Danica, our social media administrator, who has been administrating our social media for the last few years, and will also be with us this summer, joining us, probably joining each day another group and trying to cover on social media some of the themes and ideas that you will be discussing. Danica, I don't know if you want to add something, or is this enough? Just
I guess it's enough. It's just to say hello. It's very nice to meet you even this way. And I'm excited to, even if it's by email or Zoom, get some input from the students, because we always love to hear what you think. about the school. So we'll be in touch and hopefully get to know each other a bit better, one way or the other.
Okay, thank you, Danica. We will try to be present and apparent on conflict studies on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and also our FMK Politics. It's the Twitter of our critical political studies at the Faculty of Media and Communications. So I think I would like to end this session to allow people to enter the actual class if it happens right after, or to continue with your other obligations for today. We really wish you all an enriching and interesting week with us virtually. We will indeed meet again at the end of this week to kind of close the summer school. As Maxine said at the beginning, this is usually where it shifts from a very quiet room to a very engaging, loud, and fun and funny room, but we'll try to do something from that spirit, even if on Zoom. I want to end also with a very, very, very big thank you to Alex for somehow believing that we can actually do that, and really taking the lead in bringing us to this point that we actually do have so many people joined us from so many places around the world, countries, backgrounds, and you really very in a very committed way kind of really helped us make it happen today. So thank you so much, Alex. I think people are clapping, but you can't hear. Okay, so I don't know if you want to end the session with anything to share with us, Alex. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us for this week, and we really wish you a wonderful, exciting, and interesting week together in the smaller groups and with us all together.